You're listening to the Shared Security Podcast with Tom Eston and Scott Wright, exploring the trust you put in people, apps, and technology.
Hosted by Scott Wright, the Streetwise Security Coach, and Tom Eston, penetration tester and ethical hacker. And sponsored by Security Perspectives, your source for tailored security awareness training and assessment solutions. We bring you stories, advice, and tips to help you make better risk decisions because nobody else can make them for you.
Episode 65, Pre-Click Data Sharing. What some creepy sites are doing with your data before you click submit.
Hello and welcome to the Shared Security Podcast, episode 65 for July 6, 2017. I'm Scott Wright, and I'm here with our resident Caped Crusader, Tom Eston. You ever wear capes, Tom?
Some heroes don't wear capes, Scott.
I was going to say, you probably never see him in a cape, but that doesn't mean he's never worn one. So.
Maybe once for Halloween a long time ago when I was a lot younger.
Yeah, and I generally think the cape gets in the way sometimes, you know.
That's true. When you're flying and yeah, flying's hard enough. So
what was the point of that anyway?
I have no idea, but it sounded good.
Neither here nor there, because we're going to talk about security.
Yeah.
All right. So we are on our 65th episode. We're not too bad. I guess we were a little bit behind from what we wanted to be, but it's coming along, and we got a few good stories this week.
Yes, we do. We're going to start by talking about smart TV, a new smart TV hack that puts attack code into a traditional broadcast signal. What is that?
It just means we should be more wary of smart TVs than we ever were before.
Not like we already are.
Yeah.
We've never talked about those vulnerabilities on this show, but something new.
Well, that's good. Let's hear it when we get to that. Then we're also going to get to talk about creepy stuff, like when you're filling in a web form or something, and maybe you didn't submit it, but
that's right.
Somebody may actually have captured what you've typed.
Yes, we'll talk about
cheating.
The new.
Yeah,
it is a little bit of cheating, but it's the newfangled way that companies are collecting your personal information without your knowledge. So we'll shed some light on that one.
Yep, that's scary. And Facebook is doing some good these days, maybe.
Yeah, we've always talked about that. Just in recent years, Facebook has made great strides in giving tools to their user base to help protect their privacy, and now they're doing some things kind of on the back end to protect your profile picture. So we'll talk about that.
That is good. And then we're gonna just have some fun. We won't spill the beans right now, but there's gonna be a fun thing about identity theft.
Yeah, and just how people will click on things and give things away that they probably shouldn't give away.
Let's just leave it at that.
That's right.
Now. All right. Well, it's going to be kind of maybe a quick episode, but still some good stuff. So let's talk about those smart TVs.
Yeah, so this one, apparently there's a group of security researchers that gave a presentation. It always starts with that, right? At a hacker conference or some other conference where they're disclosing vulnerabilities. And these researchers have found a way to embed attack code into terrestrial TV signals. So even if you have a smart TV or a traditional TV, they all give off a signal, obviously, for pulling down HD content. You remember the switch from from analog to digital back in the day, where people had to get these converters for their TV because the signals had changed. Well, they're essentially taking advantage of that with the new smart TVs. And what they found was all these TVs are so integrated with web browsers and all these different types of technology that they could leverage vulnerabilities just in the way that those things are implemented in smart TVs and do things such as, turn the camera on the TV, surf that web browser to maybe a site that it's not supposed to go to, turn on the microphone, right? We've seen that problem with Samsung smart TVs in the past, where, your TV could be spying on you, all through your regular TV signal now. So it's kind of it's a little bit scary to think that there is now research around, using just the traditional TV signal to cause exploits on your smart TV. But it's really just an evolution of now just more ways to, find ways to attack these new types of devices.
So without getting too technical, how does how can it be done, this exploit?
So it relies on the transmitter that's built into smart TVs, and there's essentially a vulnerability in the TV standard that's used in TVs, and these researchers were essentially able to find that vulnerability and use that to exploit it, which would cause, some type of attack on the smart TV. So depending on what the attacker is, looking to do, there was actually, in this article we'll link in the show notes, they go into how, if you remember, those CIA documents were leaked through, I believe it was WikiLeaks, of several months ago. The CIA was actually, apparently they have a toolkit to do this exact same thing. So this isn't technically new, but it was kind of inspired by that release, and these researchers just were able to figure out a way to do it.
Interesting. So, like, for an old guy like me, I don't think of TVs as having transmitters. They're basically receivers in the old days. So I'm just trying to get my mind wrapped around this part of it. So if a TV has a transmitter, what's the transmitter used for? Just for its side of communication with a cable company, or what is it?
Yeah, it's something like that. I'm looking through the notes here, but
or is it an over-the-air transmitter?
I think it's over the air. I may have my terminology
okay.
right. That pulls regular TV signals from an antenna, essentially.
Okay, but that would be the receiver. So if the TV's transmitting, it may be transmitting for like Bluetooth or something. I don't know. We're gonna have to dig deeper into this, because it doesn't necessarily make sense to me. I'm sure it does in the big picture, but just trying to figure out how that all comes together. But I mean, suffice it to say that there's a lot of new technology that are being abused, or at least not being obviously tested against all possible malicious use cases, right?
Right. So to provide a little more clarity, the people that developed the exploits created a transmitter that's based on the traditional broadcasting technology.
So it's
transmission
not in the TV
standard.
It's
correct.
Near the TV. Okay, I see.
Correct.
So they would broadcast something that the TV's receiver would pick up and interpret, and then do something that you're not expecting.
That's right. Exactly.
Makes sense. Now, okay. Got to keep you honest, Tom. You can't.
I know you do.
I know
that's the engineer in you coming out.
Right. Yeah, it's been a while, but
I just want to break stuff. So
yeah. Well, anyway, it's a good story, and lots of, actually, in the story that we're linking to, there are lots of links for further background. So it's an interesting thing to learn about, for sure. Okay, so what's next?
So there are companies like this one company, Quicken Loans, which you may have heard of. I know in the United States they're pretty big, mortgage company essentially. They have a loan calculator. So if you're interested to find out, how much your mortgage may be, say you're buying a house as an example. You fill out a form, you answer some questions, and then you probably get an email that says, here's, some information for you. Well, there is some technology out now that companies like Quicken and others are leveraging, which can send information that you're typing into a web form they can send it to a company or somebody else, like a third party, without your knowledge, even before you hit the submit button.
Yeah, so that's creepy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we all sort of recognize, hopefully, the risks of, when you submit data over the web, you're trusting that the place you're submitting it to is doing, reasonable things with it. And, their terms may say they're, intending to share or sell all information you submit. But that's assuming that you've submitted it, right, to them. And so in this case, what we're saying is the companies are actually somehow with JavaScript or other technology capturing what's actually being typed in the field and making use of it with even before you've clicked submit. So if you abandon a page and think you didn't actually, you get like in your example where you're doing a loan application and you get to a point in the application where you've entered a whole lot of information and then realize, what, this place doesn't seem, like a place I want to borrow money from or owe money to. But before you hit that submit button, you think you might be safe in abandoning it, but you may already have been sort of giving some information to them just by typing into the fields. So that's good to know.
Yeah, that's correct. So there's the company that is basically is developing this technology is called Navistone, and they kind of describe their technology as ready to engage customers, where they can identify anonymous website visitors to actual postal names and addresses. So the idea is to send postcards just by, to somebody's house by visiting a website without even knowing who they are. So that's some pretty impressive technology to be able to link probably just disparate bits of data from your web browser, right? And the information that you reveal through just surfing the web to an actual physical location.
Yeah. So I had a bit of a creepy thing happen that is very similar to what's talked about in this story very recently. So let's say you're looking for, some replacement lightning cables, right, off of Amazon. The lightning cables are kind of expensive to buy from Apple, right, for charging your iPad or iPods. And so I was going to go on Amazon and, do a quick search because I'd seen people say, they're pretty good quality, good price. And what I had done though is I think I had made a note for myself, maybe an email to myself or something with a few to-do list things. And one of them was the lightning cables. Another one was that I had in the list was, a refrigerator filter, for the water dispenser on the fridge. And I had never actually typed it into Amazon or even into a search engine, I don't think. I'd swear by it.
Yeah.
But I searched for my lightning cables and I see a whole page of lightning cables except for one of the little blocks that would have a product that matches my search was a water filter for a fridge. And I'm going, holy cow. Like, what are the chances?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So sort of tells me that maybe on the Apple devices, data is getting shared between apps that you don't expect. Because I'm darn sure I didn't type or submit a search for the water filter anytime before I started looking for the lightning cables. So that's the only place it could have come from was from maybe a note or some other app that I had taken a note about it. So that's along the same lines, right? Grabbing that information and using it without any expectation that that's where it's going.
That's right. Yeah. So it's interesting to see where this is going to evolve. Obviously, they were showing a couple of companies in this article that disclose this type of activity in their privacy policies, and of course, we've had that conversation many times with our listeners about you should probably read the privacy policies of the sites that you use and visit. Of course, that's time consuming, and there's a lot of legalese sometimes in those, in those privacy policies. But it is good to understand if they are using this technology that you opt out from using the site or find another way to opt out of that. But right now, I know that like Quicken doesn't have any disclosure in their privacy policy regarding this type of behavior. So it's kind of in a gray area right now legally. And we'll see where that goes.
Yeah. So, and we have to say this because our tagline is exploring the trust we put in people, apps, and technology. So anytime
Yeah,
we use a product, we're trusting how it's using our information or even our actions that we do with that product. So
that's right.
we have to cover
And
our
we
butts there.
say, yeah, trust but verify,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yep. Cool. Good story.
Yeah,
So, well, on the good news side, we
yeah.
have Facebook trying their best, I
That's
guess.
right. That's right. So Facebook is testing out a new feature. Apparently, they've launched this in India. So this hasn't been launched in other places of the world right now. But there's a big problem. I'd say more than just in India, but there's a problem with people stealing other people's profile pictures and using those for scams or phishing, or creating fake profiles with that, and then getting those person's friends to friend the new account and then send them spam messages and wire me money, I'm stuck in this country type of scams that I think we've discussed in the past as well.
Right.
And so they're implementing some technology that's going to prevent people from downloading the profile photo, tagging anybody within those profile pictures. And another thing I find interesting is actually preventing people from screen capturing the screen that has the profile photo.
I was just gonna say, what about screen captures?
Exactly, and I find, right now they say that it's only enabled on Android devices. So there probably is a feature within when you develop an Android application that you could prevent screen capture within the application. So I think that's where they're getting that from.
Jeez.
But
where will it end? How will it stop people from taking pictures with your camera of the screen?
Or pictures with another phone, pictures with the camera within the camera. I mean, yeah, it gets pretty crazy. Of like, I don't know how you could completely prevent that.
Yeah.
It's just like how there's ways with JavaScript you can prevent someone from copying a photo off of like a standard web page.
I mean, it makes sense to make it less easy, right?
Right. But then if you look at the code, you just find a way around it and
just
and
make
do
the
it
bar a
that
little
way.
higher. Make the little white picket fence
Exactly.
another foot higher. So.
Right. So it's going to stop, I think, the average Joe, right, from or the script kiddie attacker that's putting together something. But I don't know if that's really going to prevent a dedicated professional from doing these things.
Yeah.
We'll see, but I definitely applaud Facebook for taking that measure, because it definitely is an issue. And we've talked about that in the past, of just horrible things that can happen to people that have their profiles stolen and copied.
Yeah, it's a real problem. I mean, you'd think they could be doing more on the side of the person's name, right? I mean, because clearly, if you're trying to steal somebody's profile, you're going to use the same name,
right?
So there's got to be stuff they can do on that side of it, more on the verification of the name. But
anyway. Yep, tough problem to solve, but
it is, yeah. But it's good that they're trying,
Yeah, I agree.
Excellent. And well, we've got some fun stuff.
Yeah.
What would it take to get you to put your driver's license up in the camera and take a picture with your face in it?
Well, this reminds me of just how, and I'm sure this still happens. I'd given a talk a long time ago and pulled data off of Twitter of people posting their social security cards, their driver's license, their credit cards, and posting those to Twitter or social media saying, "Hey, look, I'm 16. I just got my driver's license. Check it out." And or, "Hey, I got my new credit card from my bank. It's got a $5,000 limit." And then they actually post a picture of the credit card.
Yeah. Oh well.
So in regards to that, there's some phishing scams that are going around that they ask for more information, right? So they ask for the typical things in a phishing email: put in your credit card number, put in your driver's license, your social security number, all these other things. And then they ask you to verify everything by uploading a selfie with your driver's license and your credit card number, with you in the picture, and post it to the site that's asking you to do that.
Well, you got to give them credit. That is a good way to confirm their identity.
I absolutely. But I'm just thinking to myself, wouldn't you think twice about why is the site asking me to upload a selfie with my credit card and driver's license? I don't know. But apparently people are doing it.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, there is. I mean, it's a fine line, right? I mean, I think I encountered at one time, it's been a while since I created a Facebook account, but I think when I was creating one a while ago, Facebook was actually doing more identity checking at the time, and they wanted you to do something with a piece of ID. I know they do that, I think, if your account's been flagged or disabled or something, right? They want you to prove who you are,
correct,
or whatever, to get it back. But yeah, it's kind of along that line, right? You know, what kind of hoops can a site make you go through in order to avoid actually talking to you?
Yeah, that's true. I remember when I tried to verify my Twitter account. Remember, we had that experiment, and still not verified. They won't. I don't know why.
Tell them to call me. I'll vouch for you. Okay.
I don't understand. I had to actually send them a copy of my driver's license as part of the Twitter verification process, and I never.
Did they
heard
make
it.
You do a selfie and all that?
No, not a selfie, but it's funny. I should talk to one of my friends, Rob Fuller, who I saw him post on Facebook the other day that he's finally verified. It took him I think a year or more to get verified on Twitter, and just constant back and forth with Twitter at getting more information. And it's just an unbelievably painful process for an average person.
Right.
I guess if you're like Donald Trump or some celebrity, it's very easy, but
I guess.
To be a regular person, regular Joe, right, to get verified.
It's the white privilege thing, right?
I'm not sure, but
no, I don't know.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, well, yeah. So be very careful when sites are asking you to do these kind of things.
Just don't do that unless you can really trust the source of who's asking you for that information. But I will tell you, banks and financial institutions and those types of organizations are not going to ask you for a selfie with.
They probably don't use that. They probably don't have that vocabulary in their approved text for any of their correspondence.
No, just don't do it. Yeah.
Good. Well, good advice, Tom, as usual.
Thanks.
So, well,
that's what I'm here for.
That's right. So, well, it's kind of a short episode, but anything you want to chat about, things that are coming up, or I guess there's always the Black Hat DEF CON stuff, and we're going to learn some new stuff from that coming up.
Yep, I'll be at Black Hat this year.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Yeah, if anyone wants to send me a message and I'm around and we can meet up or, let me know. So I will be at Black Hat. I won't be at DEF CON. I'm going to be leaving that Friday, but I will be at Black Hat. So
excellent. Good stuff.
Yeah.
And, well, for me, not too much this summer, so I won't be too visible. But I am working on a little bit of an initiative that I'll announce maybe in our next episode regarding some online training courses that are available.
Oh, awesome.
For small business cybersecurity stuff. So stay tuned. Cool. And so with that, I think we should probably let people know how to reach us if they have comments or questions.
Yep. You could send an email at feedback@sharedsecurity.net or Facebook or Twitter. We're on Twitter as SharedSec. And then our Facebook page is just Shared Security in the search bar, and you will find us.
Yeah, and we have a little newsletter that I sometimes actually send out when we have a new episodes. So you may or may not get notified when we have the episodes available. Because we're not on a strict schedule. That would be just crazy. We don't do that kind of thing.
It's stricter, though.
It is stricter.
It's better than we've ever done. So.
Yep. Very good. Okay, well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us for this episode, and we'll look forward to talking to you next time.
See you, everybody.
Bye-bye.